The office floor was quiet in that peculiar way it always became late in the evening, when ambition finally went home and only soft lights and cleaning crews remained. The CEO, Marcus Halle, sat alone in his glass-walled office, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened, staring at figures that refused to make sense. Something had been leaking information, decisions, deals, and every internal investigation had ended the same way. No proof, no trail, no explanation. Yet competitors always seemed one step ahead, as if the walls themselves were listening. He rubbed his eyes, exhausted, unaware that the answer was closer than he could imagine. Down the hallway, a single dad named Noah moved slowly with his janitor's cart, careful not to make noise. His 6-year-old son, Eli, walked beside him, clutching a small toy car. Childcare had fallen through again, and Noah had learned that sometimes survival meant bending rules quietly. Eli had grown used to these late nights, to offices that smelled like polish and paper, to pretending the world was an adventure even when it wasn't. He wandered a few steps ahead while Noah wiped down a conference table, his small footsteps echoing softly on the polished floor. Eli stopped suddenly outside the CEO's office, his head tilted, eyes narrowing with curiosity rather than fear. He stepped closer to the glass wall, then closer still, until his nose nearly touched the frame. Noah noticed him pause and was about to call him back when Eli slipped through the slightly open door. Eli, Noah started, but his son raised a finger to his lips. The boy walked toward Marcus with careful steps and leaned in close, standing on his toes. His voice dropped to a whisper, serious and urgent. There's a camera in your office. Marcus looked up sharply, irritation flashing across his face. What? He glanced at Noah, who had rushed in, mortified. I'm so sorry, sir. He didn't mean, but Eli wasn't playing. He pointed to the corner of the room, near a smoke detector that didn't quite match the others Marcus had seen 100 times before. Right there, Eli said. It's watching you. Marcus frowned, following the boy's finger. That's impossible, he said automatically. This is a secure office. Eli shook his head. It's fake smoke, he said simply. My uncle has one. He says it's so people don't notice. The room went still. Marcus stood slowly, his pulse quickening in a way business crises rarely caused anymore. He walked to the corner and stared at the device. From a distance, it looked ordinary. Up close, something was off: the angle, the faint reflection where there shouldn't be one. He reached up, twisted it slightly, and felt resistance where none should exist. Noah swallowed hard. Eli, how did you know? Eli shrugged. It was blinking. Just a tiny bit. Marcus didn't speak. He pressed a button on his desk phone. His voice suddenly tight. Security, I need you in my office. Now. What followed unfolded faster than anyone expected. The device was dismantled and confirmed to be a hidden camera, streaming directly to an external server. Over the next hours, more were found not just in Marcus's office, but in meeting rooms, private lounges, even the executive elevator. A silent breach that had been happening for months, maybe longer. Deals leaked, strategies exposed. Trust violated at the highest level. By midnight, law enforcement was involved. By morning, arrests followed: an internal contractor working with a rival firm, planted carefully, patiently. The company had been watched from the inside, and no system audit had caught it. But what shocked Marcus most wasn't the discovery. It was who had made it. He sat again in his office, now stripped bare, blinds drawn, the weight of realization heavy on his shoulders. Across from him sat Noah, hands folded nervously, Eli swinging his legs beside him, completely unaware of how much had changed. You just saved this company, Marcus said quietly, looking at the boy. And you didn't even know it. Eli looked up. I just don't like when people spy, he said. It's not nice. Marcus let out a breath that was almost a laugh. He turned to Noah. What do you do? He asked. I clean, Noah said automatically. Then, after a pause, I used to be a systems technician. Before my wife passed. I took whatever job let me raise him. Marcus nodded slowly. Pieces. Falling into place. The blind spots. The people no one looks at. You're very observant, he said, more to himself than to them. A week later, Noah returned to the building but not with a janitor's cart. He wore a visitor badge and sat in a bright conference room, Eli beside him with crayons and paper. Marcus entered, no entourage, no formality. I owe you both more than a thank you, he said. I can't undo what was taken. But I can decide what happens next. Noah didn't expect what followed: an offer to return to technical work, flexible hours, real stability. Not charity, trust, the kind built when someone is finally seen. Months later, the office felt different, safer, quieter in the right ways. Marcus sometimes glanced at the corners of rooms, not with paranoia, but with humility. Power, he had learned, didn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispered, in a child's voice, through the cracks people forget to watch, and, every evening, when Noah picked Eli up and headed home before dark, the building stood behind them, no longer watching, no longer hiding, changed forever. By a truth spoken softly. At just the right moment. Please like, share, and subscribe. Lovera Sky. We share stories the world need to feel again.